Edson Cavani impresses on his debut for Manchester United that he played against Chelsea, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes in and says he wants Halland at Manchester United. Welcome to United Studio Television. Subscribe to our channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in on daily. I'm Rokan here at United Studio Television, guys. Endeavor to subscribe, like, and comment. Now, the first story that we're talking about is all about Edinson Cavani making his debut for Manchester United, and he really impressed. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager, really came out and hailed all paled praises on the 33-year-old Uruguay international who came in at Manchester United on the D-Day. He was signed as a free agent because he failed to agree for another contract with PSG, and he last played a competitive football game in March. And that's when COVID-19 really hit the world, and the French League One really went into a pause. And remember, when it returned, he was no longer a player for PSG. Okay, when they returned to the Champions League, the games they played until the final, he was no longer a player of PSG, and he left for Manchester United as a free agent. And Manchester United signed Edinson Cavani on the D-Day of the transfer, and he came as a free agent, and he earns close to £200,000 a week. So that's Edinson Cavani for you. But he longed to make a debut for Manchester United, reason being he had to quarantine for 14 days. Remember, he would have started for a game against Tottenham Hotspur. It was not possible because the government of UK really put up restrictions to people coming outside England, especially if at all you've not been in England and you are coming from the likes of France. And France was one of the countries that UK really put a ban on all the hotspots that thinks that there is a lot of COVID. And if at all you are to come in from France to UK, you have to quarantine for 14 days. And those 14 days saw Edinson Cavani missing out on the following games. That of Tottenham Hotspur, he missed out on the game of Newcastle, and he returned to training, or he commenced training with Manchester United players on the Sunday after United trounced Newcastle 4-1, and he trained with the team, and we expected him to be on the squad to go and play against PSG. Most of us thought that his debut is going to be all happen against his former team, that is PSG, but it never happened that way because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came out and said that he is not yet match fit. He has not yet gotten the fitness to feature into this game. That's what Ole really went in and said to the press, and that kept his debut really something we are longing for at Manchester United. And thank God, and on Saturday he went ahead to make his debut against Chelsea, and he came on, as you see him there. Where is he? As you see him there, he came on with Paul Pogba in the 58th minute of that game of Manchester United against Chelsea. That's Edinson Cavani making a debut for Manchester United. He showed us the quality that he has after he came on, and this is what happened on his first touch. His first touch almost went into the back of the net. That is the flick that he did with his foot, and it went into the back of the net, but it went into the outside net. So that is Edinson Cavani for you, really having an impressive start for Manchester United. His debut was really on point, and Ole really came out and had something to say about his debut at Manchester United. Ole, in his own words, said that he's been out for a little while and had a nice run towards the nearest post, a nice little flick, almost scored there. Yes, as you see that in the photo, that's what Ole was talking about. He showed he was a presence. He showed he was a presence in the box. I think it was Thiago Silva who had a nice block from him. Yes, there is another nice cross that was brought in by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and it landed on Edinson Cavani. And Edinson Cavani never did anything to that shot apart from directing it to the goal, but a man known as Thiago Silva really blocked that shot to go into the net of Chelsea. And Edinson Cavani making a debut for Manchester United, really being a very big story to talk about and a memorable moment for him, the new shirt number 7 of Manchester United. Ole went ahead to say that, but he's going to give us a lot. He's come in, had a great influence, impact on the training ground already, but we know he needs game time to get his sharpness back. He's got clever moments. He's got clever movements, great runs. He's an experienced center forward. Yes, when you talk about being experienced, I think no one doubts that. No one doubts Edinson Cavani as far as experience is concerned. So I think he's the right man to be leading the line at Manchester United. And guys, thank you for watching. Smash a like on this video, comment and share into the live chat and tell me where you guys are watching it from. So Ole continued and said that, and the more we get the ball into him, in and around the box, we will get some goals from him. Speaking to match day, he added, he gives us something different to what we have. Of course, we now have a center forward who is different to the ones we've already had. So I think the likes of people like Gary Neville, who the poll scores, who said that Manchester really needs a number 9 and they really fast for Harry Kane, and Ole has really got them a very big reply by telling them that we had a different number 9 from all the players that we are having at Manchester United. I don't know whether you guys agree with Ole, but Ole really thinks that United has got a number 9 who is far different from the number 9s that we are having at Old Trafford. So Edinson Cavani making a debut for Manchester United, and that's the flick that he really put on the ball that went into the side net, and the other one that would have gone into the goal went in the corner after being deflected by, or blocked by, his former teammate in PSG, known as Thiago Silva. So guys, thank you for watching. Smash a like on this video, comment, like and share. You can tell me what you think about Edinson Cavani's debut at Manchester United, and it really came into a very crucial game as Manchester United took on a team known as Chelsea at Old Trafford. Remember, that game ended in a 0-0, and a player known as Marcus Rashford really got a very clear chance and he failed to bag it. Instead of going for a chip over the goalkeeper, he went for a lower bottom corner, and Mendy, the goalkeeper of Chelsea, really put his leg to block the ball to go into the back of the net, and it went into the corner. United really had an impressive but boring game. United was in the lead because Chelsea got only 1 shot on target. United got close to 4 shots on target on that day. So no wonder United really were the boys, but they failed to really get a win. But I think Ole came into this game really wanting to see to it that he gets a point out of this game, and he really got it. And Manchester United has nothing really to lose. I think very many people are furious of this draw, but I think drawing against Chelsea is not bad, provided we have a game in hand. When we win our game in hand against Burnley, I know it's going to be a hard one because even Burnley is fighting for its life. But against Burnley, if we win, it will be 10 points, and I think it will be just 3 points, or 3 points, I think, 3 points away from the top of the table. And remember, as things are starting right now, things are real funny in here to an extent that anyone can really come into and win the Premier League. It looks like it's too open. Only one team in the top 6 teams is into the top 8, remember? So that's how tricky the Premier League is this season. Remember, Everton is on the top of the table. That is, Everton is over with 13 points. Liverpool there with 13 also. Aston Villa with 12. Leicester with 12. Leeds with 10. Southampton with 10. And that other team that is near, the top 6, the usual top 6 team that is near the top 6 is Chelsea. It's in the 6th position with 9 points. That means that if at all Manchester United really goes into and wins its game that it has in hand, it will go to a level of 10 points, and that will see it be in the top 6. If at all Tottenham Hotspur goes ahead to win, it will be really having 11 points, and it will be in the 5th position, displacing Leeds. So Manchester United, that's how we are standing, and this story has come all the way from a man known as Edinson Cavani making his debut for Manchester United, being that real man in here, and Ole gave him a lot of praises, but however much him giving him praises, things really came to a change where Ole really has changed and said that I want my former player that I was with in is it Norway? I think Norway Moldy. I want that player back at Old Trafford, and he was really furious for him, and that is none other than Eric Halland. Eric Halland, a man from Molde. He went to a team known as Red Bull Salzburg, and after Red Bull Salzburg, he went to a team known as Borussia Dortmund. And remember, Manchester United were the favorites to seal this deal, but why the deal failed? You all know that the deal failed because of the main man known as Mino Raiola. Mino Raiola is the agent to a player known as Eric Halland, and him being the agent to Eric Halland, you know what comes with him being the agent. He really wanted Manchester United to put a release clause of Eric Halland into his contract, and Ed Woodward said, no, that's not business, because us getting the player as young as he is, we want him at Old Trafford to really come in and grow with the legs, with his fellow other young players like Antoine Martial, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, name them, because there are very many young players at Manchester United that are below 25, and that really came into happening, and Eric Halland really failed to make his move to Manchester United. Remember, he very much wanted to play for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and news coming in here shows us that Eric Halland and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are still in talks or in contact, and Solskjaer really tells him, I want to see you at Manchester United. Remember, the buyout clause that Eric Halland has with PSG is at 75 million pounds, and that can only be triggered in the season of 2022. But news coming in shows that if at all any team comes up with more money than the release clause, that is 75 million pounds, Eric Halland really has to leave the Borussia Dortmund side, and that side is supposed to be Manchester United is really wanting Eric Halland. But the big question is that we're asking ourselves, is United in world books or in good books with Borussia Dortmund, having really failed to get a player known as Jadon Sancho, and really there is bad blood now. We all know that there is bad blood between Michael Zorc and the man himself, the CEO of Manchester United, known as Ed Woodward. They are not in good talking times because Manchester United failed to get Jadon Sancho, and he was the prior signing of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And the big question really stays in there. We're asking ourselves, can Manchester United really get a player from Borussia Dortmund again after really failing to get a player known as Jadon Sancho here at Manchester United? Remember, Manchester United had done a couple of deals from Borussia Dortmund. Remember, Kagawa really came in at Manchester United in the era of Sir Alex Ferguson from Borussia Dortmund, and another player known as Henrik Mkhitaryan really came in from Borussia Dortmund to Manchester United, and I think there was good blood between Manchester United and the team known as Borussia Dortmund. But as things went on to unfold, we got to know that there is really bad blood between Manchester United and Borussia Dortmund, having put a deadline of 10th August for any team that really wants Jadon Sancho to pursue him, to pay close to 108 million pounds to Borussia Dortmund to take a man known as Jadon Sancho, and Manchester United really failed to do that on the deadline day that PSG had said. And PSG really said, sorry, Borussia Dortmund went on to say, we are not selling Jadon Sancho because the deadline we gave you guys, you failed to utilize it. But Manchester United kept on saying that come what may, we are going to land the deal with Jadon Sancho. They prepared close to 3 bids that were rejected by Borussia Dortmund, and ever since then there is really no good blood between Manchester United and a team known as Borussia Dortmund. So I'm asking guys, what do you think about the bad blood? Do you think Manchester United can really bring on Eric Halland here at Manchester United? That's the big question. Eric Halland was born on July 21st, 2000. He is aged 20 years and he was born in Leeds in United Kingdom. He is a Norwegian player. He's a forward and he joined Borussia Dortmund in 2020 from Red Bull Salzburg. And remember, he joined Red Bull Salzburg from Molde in 2017, and the person that was coaching him was none other than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the current manager of Manchester United. Eric Halland has really shown a lot of improvement, and in the Bundesliga this season, 2020-2021, he has played 5 matches. He has scored 5 goals and 2 assists with 1 yellow card and 0 red cards. I think you know why Ole now knows, or Ole really wants to see that he gets the signature of the young lad known as Eric Halland, because he is scoring for fun. This season he has played 5 games. He has scored 5 goals and 2 assists. That means in 5 games, he has been involved in 7 goals. So I think he's really a goal poacher. He's that forward that really Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thinks he wants to be at Manchester United. And in the UEFA Champions League this season, he has played 1 game and he has scored 1 goal. And now you know the man known as Eric Halland. In the DFL Super Cup, he has played 1 game, scored 1 goal. And in the DFB Pokal, he has scored 1 goal. He has played 1 game and scored 0 goals. That is Eric Halland for you. He has a reason to make Ole Gunnar Solskjaer really demand for him or for his signing at Manchester United. Talented as he is, he has numbers by himself. Remember when he went and played for a team known as Norway into the international break, he went and scored a hat-trick into that game. So Eric Halland really is a boy that Manchester United really needs. And we look at the crop of players that United are having. Tuanzebe, he is close to 22 years. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is like 21. Luke Shaw clocking 25. Harry Maguire is 27. Scott McTominay like 22. Sorry, Marcus Rashford is like 22, 23. Anton Martial is 24, 25. Danny Van Beek is 23. And very many other players. So guys, now allow me get my fellow analyst. He is known as Kosi.
Yeah,
United Social Television once again.
Yeah, it feels good back. It feels good to be back. It feels so good to be back, man.
It's been long since you were here.
Yeah, I know, man.
The last time you were here talking about Pelestri coming at Manchester United.
Yeah.
So, how is the going?
Still good. Apart from that loss we suffered against Leicester City, and we couldn't just explain it, but I think it was everything has been going on as well as you can say, but we are not really performing. And whenever my team is not performing well, I'm not really in the best mood. So I think that's a problem.
So whoever is watching in, he's called Kosi. He runs a channel called as Arsenal Podcast. You can go there if at all you really sometimes, especially this weekend, in the due course of this week, is going to do a lot of news because Manchester United is going to be facing a team known as Arsenal on Sunday. And I think we will be having that video some other time. But today, as you see the heading in there, Cavani impresses on his debut and Ole wants Halland at Manchester United. So, did you watch the game of Chelsea against Manchester United?
Yeah, I did watch it. I think it was it was one of the most boring games over the weekend, man.
Not over the weekend. I think it's the most boring game ever since the Premier League kick-started.
Trust me, it was a poor performance. You just couldn't tell that two big teams were playing. It was like Sheffield versus West Brom. West Brom.
And what annoyed me was that Ole really also came in for Edo, also for Edo, yet he had the chance to go in and win this game. So
yeah,
the substitutions that he made were too reserved. He was too reserved for this game. I think he thought that because last season United played Chelsea 5 times, and of the 5 times United won 4 times. And I think Ole this time got to know that you never know us having being dominant the previous season, things might not go in our favor. That's why he really went for a defensive mechanism to Chelsea. Now, what do you talk about Edinson Cavani's debut? Because Ole really came in and praised Edinson Cavani, that he's a different striker, that he's not at Manchester United. The two chances that he got, the one that went into the side net and the other that was blocked by his former teammate known as Thiago Silva at PSG. And Ole really said, if at all United keeps on giving him more chances, or more balls into the box, he's going to put some goals to Manchester United.
Of course, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I expect him to say that, these are signings of the club. So he has to defend them. There's no way, he's going to come and, be against them. But again, the presence of Edinson Cavani was felt on that pitch, actually. Is an option, a very good option for Anthony Martial. Many Manchester United fans were afraid that with Anthony Martial out for 3 matches, Manchester United is really going to struggle a lot, and it has struggled, especially when you look at the technical abilities of Martial. There are not so many players that have that technicality, that ability playing forward at Manchester United. Rashford is, I don't know what. He's this kind of good player, good finisher. He's loyal, but he's not as technical as Martial. Greenwood is young and not yet as technical as Martial. So you need a player who has some experience, and that's what Edinson Cavani gives you. I think he's not yet too old to score 10 goals in a season. I think the age is still there. He can still score. If you ask me about his impact against Chelsea, yeah, I agree, but this was a game that Manchester United had in its own hands. It is a game that, at any time we thought Manchester United was going to get a quality moment and put away the game. So for me, I would have been more impressed with Edinson Cavani if he had tried to make an assist or he had scored a goal. Yes, he was brilliant. He got, he showed, performance. He troubled the Chelsea defense, but on the night, Chelsea were the worst team on the evening. So we expect I would have expected any player, Manchester United player, to be different to get that chance cross the line, and that should have been Edinson Cavani. But for me, it's a good start. It's a good start for Edinson Cavani. 33 years of age, Premier League. There are so many things you think about, and you're like, will he even manage? But I think it was a good start. One of the funny comments I saw during the game was him and Thiago Silva shared 70 years between them on the pitch. And that's like, okay, this makes sense. But, I think it was a good start for him. Chelsea is a big club. And, it was a good start. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to give him more, more time and presence in the Premier League, maybe he can prove to us. But Chelsea are weak defensively. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to know that, Chelsea are weak defensively. If you're defending your strikers against a club like Chelsea, they concede. For Christ's sake, they had a 3-3 draw with West Brom. So you can't tell me that Manchester United can't score, at least 1 goal past them. They had a 3-3 draw with Southampton. So, they have been conceding at a high rate. So that means United had to score in that game. And Edinson Cavani should have been better if he had scored. But for me, it's a good start. I expected the worst out of him. But, he's proving me wrong. It's a good start.
So now, one thing that we should note about this game was that for the very first time, Frank Lampard, the manager of Chelsea, started with 5 defenders. Ever since the season started, he had never played any team with 5 defenders.
Yeah,
he had the 3 central defenders, and he played Chilwell and James. This is not the Daniel James of Manchester United, the James of Chelsea, who plays the right back, the right full back. Then in the center of in the central defense, he had Thiago Silva, Kurt Zuma, and another player known as Bliqueta. 3 people playing into that. So that made it hard for Manchester United to break the deadlock. But the best chance of the game was let down by a man known as Marcus Rashford. One matter gave him a through pass, released him, and instead of chipping the ball over the goalkeeper, he went for a lower bottom corner, and the goalkeeper of Chelsea made him really blocked the shot using his right right foot and it went into the corner. So now, before we leave this Edinson Cavani debut for Manchester United, there is a tweet that I landed on that I really want you also to read. Let me first remove this. Someone called Ryan on Twitter said, by the way, Chelsea's front three yesterday cost close to £160 million, but in the 9 minutes, they only managed to have a one shot on target, which was a free kick against the side who had conceded 12 goals in 4 Premier League games. Yet nothing has been said about Frank Lampard. You get?
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, what's your say about that tweet about the guy that's Ryan trying to analyze Chelsea and Manchester United and the media talking bad about Ole and not talking bad about Frank Lampard? Yet Frank Lampard spent a lot into this summer, more than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Honestly, from the start of the season, Chelsea have not been impressing at all. They are not even promising. There is no game they have played, and I'm like, I think they are well. Apart from that Crystal Palace game, where they beat Crystal Palace, but you can see the goals they scored, the kind of goals, they're not promising. They're not impressing. And the pressure that's going to mount on Lampard is going to be, I don't know how heavy it's going to be. But the truth is, if I think about when Chelsea started the season, how they started their season, all of us thought maybe players need to settle in and so on. But it looks like the manager is the problem. They have a lot of quality up front, but how is he going to use them? How does he use them? The tactics and so on. It's not all about, putting these players on the pitch like Lampard does, because for him, it's a matter of putting Werner on the pitch, putting Havertz on the pitch, fronting Pulisic on the pitch, to do their own thing. There must be a way. There must be, you must have a strategy and so on. Chelsea don't have that. You see that every player tries to bring in whatever they can, for the best of the club, but the manager has not tried to give them instructions. Their forward line is close to 160 million. On paper, they were the better side in the weekend over Manchester United. I agree, because United, I think Rashford, they had Rashford, they had James, they had
Juan
Mata. There were, you couldn't just compare. You couldn't just compare the two clubs.
Mata came in from Chelsea at 36 million pounds. Rashford is a player from the academy. Daniel James coming in from Swansea at 18 million pounds.
Yeah. So I think on paper, Chelsea were the better side, but it's different from having tools for the job and having tools for the job and you can use them. I think Frank Lampard has tools for the job, but he doesn't know how to use them. And I don't think he's going to use them. I think he's going to be the first manager to leave his job. All of us had thought of Jose Mourinho, but I think it's going to be Frank Lampard. He's going to be the first manager to leave the job. Not because, players don't want him or so, but he doesn't have ideas. That Chelsea side, if I was a Chelsea fan of the weekend, I would have stopped watching that game at halftime. Literally, in the second half, they did nothing. It was all about their goalkeeper, all about, their defense, Thiago Silva and so on, trying to make things happen, trying to stop Manchester United from scoring. That was what they were doing. Lest they didn't do anything that impressed me, over the weekend. But like I said, from the start, from the first 6 games they have played, they are not impressing. They don't show room for improvement. They don't show you that this is the problem and we are going to improve in this way. No. Even if Kai Havertz and Werner light up right now, there are so many things that lack in that Chelsea squad. The confidence, the guidance and so much. And I think they just have a wrong manager. For me, United, why they were better, they were the better side on the weekend. On the pitch, they had the possession. You guys had the possession. Manchester United almost did everything. They had the shots on target, denied by Mendy on a couple of occasions. I think they have a brilliant goalkeeper. Yeah, I think they have a brilliant goalkeeper in Mendy. Congratulations, Chelsea, although they are our rivals. But, that sharpness also lacks in Manchester United. I think if United could just upgrade their game on that night, on that evening, it should have been 3 points.
And I heard someone say that if at all Edson Cavani really had, because in the first half, United really got some chances, and they, if at all Edson Cavani really got that chance of Marcus Rashford, trust me, he would have bagged that chance into the back of the net, because there was even a chance for Marcus Rashford really to calm himself down and take up as Pliqueta, who was running after him, as in making him think that he's going to shoot him goal. Then he closes inside, and then he carries the ball in the back of the net. Now we leave that story, and another story is really, I know, it's about the player that should be rated so highly into world football at the age of 20, Halland in Dortmund, and news coming in indicating that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to get the boy, his former boy that he coached at Molde, back at Manchester United. Remember, there was a chance for Manchester United to get Halland, but the reason as to why he never came at Manchester United is that his agent Mino Raiola wanted a release clause into his contract, and Manchester United said we can't buy a younger player at the age of 19 and then put a release clause. What do you think about this story of Ole really wanting Haaland at Manchester United?
Yeah, I believe in it. I believe in it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer showed so much interest in Erling Haaland in the January transfer window, in the last January transfer window, before he moved on to Dortmund. Before he moved on to Bruno Fernandes, and of course, before Haaland went to Dortmund.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, I think there is something. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows about this boy. He has worked with him. He knows how, he knows how good he is. He knows how he can transform the team. And if only he could get his signature, it would have been the best, reward for him as a manager. Because I think that striking line of Manchester United needs a more clinical player. It needs a more clinical player. And if you have, just imagine, Rokan, if you had Erling Haaland in the Chelsea game, and Haaland got that chance of Marcus Rashford, what do you think would happen?
Haaland would have scored that goal, because he is really a very composed striker. When he reaches the box, did you see the goal that scored via the weekend that Jadon Sancho gave him an assist? Did you see that goal?
Yeah.
He was not even in the middle of the goal. He was in a side that you thought that he cannot even score. But he went in for a chip that saw the ball go into the back of the net. So it was like not a goal. It was like a chance that you thought the goalkeeper was going to save, or Haaland was going to do a minus to his fair play of Dortmund. But he went in for a very brilliant chip, and it was a very good goal. Now, for that goal, for me, I thought Marcus Rashford would go for a chip. And what Haaland did for Borussia Dortmund through the weekend to score that goal is what Marcus Rashford could have done. And the best answer to your question is that would have been a goal if at all Haaland was the man in the jersey of Manchester United against Chelsea on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. And I think every in the Premier League, you need that kind of player. It has been happening at Manchester United. If you look at the past 10 years, Manchester United has been in the Premier League. They have had that kind of striker. They have had, at least there was a point where Robin van Persie was that kind of striker for you. It was, there was a time when McCrean was that kind of striker for you. You give him a one-on-one, you give him, a chance when the club needs him. He's going to put it away. Ruud van Nistelrooy, those kind of strikers, that kind of player, the Berbatov. It has, they have always come in succession for Manchester United. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows that if you get that kind of player, he's going to win for you at least 10 games in a season when things are difficult. Get one chance, score that one chance, defend, a win is a win. So you look at how, if you look at the quality of Manchester United up front, really you cannot ask 20 goals from Greenwood. It's true. Marshall can give you the 20. Rashford is very inconsistent and unreliable. He can give you a 10, a 10 good, game run, and then he disappears. He's that inconsistent. So you need a consistent striker. You need a clinical striker. You need that player who's always going to be reliable. And for me, there is no one in this age right now, apart from Robert Lewandowski. There is no other striker I can think of apart from Erling Haaland. That dude is just brilliant. He's good. The boy has scored 18 goals out of his 20 appearances for Borussia Dortmund. That is an exceptional record. And I think Dortmund.
And this season, he has played 5 in the Bundesliga with 5 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah.
5 games. He's involved in 7 goals. Champions League played 1 game. He has scored 1 goal.
Yeah.
Each and every game that he has played for his national team, he has scored, and the previous one he scored a hat-trick at that age. And you look at Norway, it's not a team that has very many stars behind him. So I think he's really a talent, really, that is yet to make this world great.
And this takes us back to the January transfer window. It highlights the weakness of Manchester United's transfer board over time these days, because this is a signing that was not going to cost 20 million. Yes, I know the release clause and so on, but Manchester United has had the power to sit down with Mino Raiola and negotiate a deal. I know they had the power. They could have given him some little money, whatever money he wanted. That weakness is hurting Manchester United right now, because if you're going to buy Erling Haaland or Kane, the truth is, right now, it must be not less than 70 million, if you agree. I don't know what really his release clause.
75 million pounds.
About 75 million pounds. That is 50 million more or 55 million more than you would have bought him in the January transfer window, because Dortmund really bought him at a very cheap price. So I think
it was 18 million, 18, 19.
Yeah, Ole is trying to make a statement that, give me the tools I want, then I'll deliver the job. Because whenever the club is performing poorly, it is on Ole. Ole out. We need Pochettino. We need Diego Simeone and the others, and the other things. But when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says, "Give me the tools," they are nowhere to be seen. They give him an Edinson Cavani. He's not a bad player, but you cannot compare him to Erling Haaland, can we? Right now,
we can't.
No, we can't. You ask for Jadon Sancho, they give you Pelestri. The two players the two are in a different world, and you just can't compare both of them. So for me, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I don't think this transfer is going to happen. It might be the same case with the Robert Lewandowski deal. Manchester United tried to get Lewandowski all the time, but he ended up at Bayern Munich. If Manchester United is not quick enough, if they cannot break the bank, someone is going to break the bank. Alan is he has an advantage. He's not English, so there are no fears that Madrid or Barcelona are going to be limited from buying him. If it is Bayern, if it is Real Madrid, it's PSG, they are going to come for him. It's going to be a lot of competition. I don't think it's going to be about his release clause this time. It might be about a high speeder. But I think United need that kind of player. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can convince the board to get him Erling Haaland, it would be a remarkable signing.
The problem, I think, is that for Halland to come is, however much Manchester United want him, for his release clause to be triggered, it will be triggered in the summer of 2022. You get? Yeah. So that means if at all you want to get him before 2022, you have to pay more money more than his release clause to be released from Borussia Dortmund. So, and if at all Manchester United really failed to bring in Jadon Sancho at Manchester United in the summer at only 108 million pounds, where the CEO Ed Woodward came out and said that the deal could cost them close to 250,000 pounds, 250 million pounds in that deal, because 4% goes to the Premier League, agent fees, the salary that Jadon Sancho wanted. And he went ahead to say that wouldn't have been a problem for Manchester United if at all they had fans that really came onto the pitch to watch the matches, because each and every time the fans are not on the field, United loses close to £5 million. So, and he says that Manchester United can make shocking signings in January if at all they are given a green light by the FA and the government of UK on when the fans will be returning to the field, and they are more prospective that might happen either in March or February next year. So when you look at how things are moving, it's a 50-50. If at all fans are allowed to come to Manchester United to watch the game, that means Manchester United can even go in for any other player they want, because the coming of Twansebe, I think it has knocked out Upper Makano in the picture because of his display against PSG. And I think now United is only eyeing on two players, that is Jadon Sancho and Halland.
Yeah, it's true. United is going to be looking at. I think they'll try to get back. Jadon Sancho. I think you guys will go back for Jadon Sancho. It is ultimately, but when you talk about fans out of the pitch and then COVID-19 and all those effects, we are going to ask ourselves a question.
Yes.
Financially, Everton is below Manchester United. And
True.
they made remarkable signings. And you ask yourself, how did they manage to do this? How did they manage to do this? Their financial status is way below that of Manchester United. I think United can triple or multiply 5 times the wealth of Everton, right? They made remarkable signings. They were good. They were good signings. That only indicates that even Manchester United could make a good, at least a good signing this summer. Going for Edinson Cavani, a deal that costs you 20 million. You have Pelestri. You sign. Was it Traore?
Amad Traore.
Amad Traore. That is close to. That is close to. Is it 50 million?
That is 65 because Amad Traore's deal will end. They bought him 35 plus 5 million add-ons, that totals to 40. Pelestri's deal was close to 10 million pounds, that is 15. Edinson Cavani close to 20 million pounds, that is 70 million pounds. Alex Telles. And when you talk about that, don't forget that Manchester United has not yet received the money they sold Lukaku to Inter Milan, close to 75 million pounds. They sold Alex Sanchez to Inter Milan for 40 million pounds. They've sold Smalling to AS Roma at 16 million pounds. That means United is expecting close to 120 million pounds, but it couldn't even go into a risk to bring in Jadon Sancho, a priority signing that the manager wanted. I think that's what is happening, and I think that's the reason why Danny Van Beek is not getting the time he wants at Manchester United, because it's not a signing of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's a signing of the board.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense why Donny van der Beek is not playing. Truly, honestly, in that midfield, there is no player apart from Bruno Fernandes who's better than Donny van der Beek. Even if you played him as a CDM, he would be better, but he'd be better than Scott McTominay. Obviously, he would be. But there is that confusion that came along at Manchester United. The manager demanding for Jadon Sancho and the board trying to please the fans, to do multiple signings. I don't know why Eddie Woodward thinks like, if you do multiple signings, A, B, C, D, because for me, Jadon Sancho was the man to bring in at Manchester United. Even if Manchester United had done one signing, it would have been a season changer. It would have highlighted Manchester United as a different club. Just see how Bruno Fernandes transformed the club when he had just come from Lisbon. Not even when he had just come, even today, he still does his thing. When the fear factor, the fluidity going forward, all those things. If you added a player like Jadon Sancho, it would have been a complete change of Manchester United squad. But right now with Pelestri, with Danny James, and now you can see United is, I think it was, what you did, guys, was going 2 steps forward and then 4 steps back. You don't tell me that Edinson Cavani is going to be reliable for the rest of the season. Pelestri is a young kid. He cannot even play on Greenwood because I think Greenwood has more Premier League experiences, and he has had good statistics. Over the past couple of games he played, especially before this season started. I think Manchester United will go back for Jadon Sancho, but for Erling Haaland, it might be quite difficult because there's going to be just a lot of competition, and Dortmund know that. Real Madrid are in a pool, are in a stinking pool. Barcelona's pool is even more trash. I think Bayern Munich will need to try to replace Robert Lewandowski. Honestly, he's getting old, although he's world class. So it's going to be a lot of competition. It's going to be a lot of competition. And, if even PSG, they have not bought so many players. So they'll be looking to add more signings next summer. So I think there's going to be a lot of competition on Erling Haaland. United have the money. I don't want to underestimate Manchester United. I don't want to undermine them. But this time, it takes more than money, I think. It's going to take more than money. It depends on the manager, how attractive you are, and all those things. For Jadon Sancho, it could be quite easier because I think the player loves the club. The player loves the club, and it was only the negotiations that fell out and the deal never happened. But I think both players, United will try to sign both players, although this might not be the easiest of deals. You understand, but not in January. I don't think it's going to happen in January. It might happen. If anything's going to happen, it's going to be the summer.
Now, as things are unfolding, Manchester United, there is a sporting director. I think, is he for Lille or Lyon? Where did you buy a player known as Pepe?
Lille.
Yeah, so the sporting director of Lille, I think he failed to renew his contract at Lille. He brought in a lot of players, and it's rumored that Manchester United are ready to go in for him to bring in a sporting director. Now, if a sporting director comes in, do you see Manchester United signing Halland and Jadon Sancho?
Well, it depends on the kind of it depends on the kind of sporting director. There are sporting directors that are good at sporting talents and bringing in raw talents, raw prospect talents, players that are going to become the next big thing. And the sporting director of Lille has done that very well for the past couple of years. From Gabriel Magalhaes, you think about Pepe, you think about players like Eden Hazard, all those players that have been at Lille. I think he has done very well. But does he have experience when it comes to signing big names? Because Erling Haaland by next season is going to be a big name. Jadon Sancho is going to be a big name. So it depends on what kind of sporting director he is. Right now, one of the problems clubs like Arsenal face. Look at Edu. He's a very good sporting director. He's a very good man. He does his job very well, but he doesn't have that experience in bringing down the big names, cracking the big deals. So is he good at cracking the deals? Can he crack the big deals? Because Manchester United is a club that cracks the big deals. It's going to ask you to go and sign Pogba. The club is going to ask you to go and sign some Angel Di Maria somewhere. Those are 70 million, 80 million, 100 million deals. So it depends. But for me, I think the problem could be with the Glazers, Rokan. The problem could be with the flow of income. I still remember Manchester United reaching a time where they could spend on any player they wanted. Under Sir Alexander Chairman Ferguson, they could bring in any player. They brought in. You remember, Carlos Tevez was a problem. They bought him. You bought, Carrick. He was a problem. I think he was at Spurs. You were about to bring in Luka Modric as well. Babatov. All those players. Those are big names. And for me, I think the Glazers have financial issues. They do not want to tell everybody. I think the problem is with the Glazers. Even if you change the sport,
a moment,
yeah.
Kosi.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned is that ever since Alex Ferguson left, Manchester United has spent close to £800 million on signing players. Manchester United is one of the teams that pays its players highly. For all of this time, after this transfer window, I've been scratching my head thinking, doing an equation on the Glazers and Ed Woodward. Who is the problem? I got to know that the problem is one. The problem is Ed Woodward. Because Patrice Evra made a very long video after Manchester United lost against a team known as Crystal Palace in the opener of the Premier League. And he said that the Glazers don't know most of the things that are happening at the club. You get? Because they trusted Ed Woodward, because Ed Woodward championed this deal of selling Manchester United to them on a loan. So they trust him a lot, to an extent that when he tells them that don't do this, it's not done. But if it is the money that you're talking about, Man has been given to Ed Woodward, and Ed Woodward has spent that money. If at all you look at the squad of Man City, it cannot equal 800 million pounds ever since Pep came in. I think it's like their squad is like 500 million pounds. I think that's what it goes for. You get? But Manchester United has been given money, but because we don't have a sporting director, the team has no direction. Ed Woodward says, I want this player, then he brings him on. So for my case, I think that Glazers have put up the money. And even if this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came out and said, I want Jadon Sancho as a priority signing. I want him. And guess what Ed Woodward did? He went to bring in Cavani, Ahmad Traore, Pelestri. You get?
Yeah.
Yet, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted the other player. So I think Ed Woodward has a lot of command on that team, that even if the manager really wants something, he won't deliver it. That's what even Jose Mourinho said, that the problem of Manchester United is Ed Woodward, because I tell you, I want this player, and he does not give me that player and gives me a different player.
Yeah, I understand, Rukan, but by the time Eddie Woodward has spent committed to Manchester United, you value him, and you think about why does he do these things? Why I think let's assess Manchester United's past 3 transfer summers. If you're going to rate them, I think this was the worst, right?
Maybe yes. Some of the worst.
Yeah. In the past among the past 3 summers.
Yes.
Yeah. So last summer, actually the summer before last summer, when you brought in Harry Maguire and Aaron Van Bissaka, yeah. Do you think those were Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signings?
I think all of them were his signings. They were, and you know what they did like that? There is something that United does. Each and every time Manchester United doesn't go into the Champions League, they spend a lot to see to it that the next season they go in the Champions League. Why? When they're not in the Champions League, Adidas gets them £40 million for the shirt sponsorships. When they're in the Champions League, they are given £75 million. So ever since Manchester United, ever since Ed Woodward took on Manchester United as the CEO, it has been a norm at Manchester United. When Manchester United is in the Champions League, they spend half the amount of money they spent the previous season when they're not in the Champions League. Now, don't expect Manchester United to spend more when they're in the Champions League, because that's what they want.
Yeah, I get that. So, Ole Gunnar, that summer, that was a good summer. And if you're going to base on Ed Woodward's failure, you say there are times he has been failing to do, but I think Ed Woodward cannot run this team alone. I don't think he makes these decisions only or solely. I think there is a meeting, there is consensus about something. And I don't know if you're a manager like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and you feel this is not the kind of player you want, why don't you tell us? You always have time, time and space to speak in press conferences and so on, and this is the problem with managers, and that's why I'm really mad with Mikel Arteta. He tells us that the board is behind him, and then he comes on the pitch, he performs trash, and then he starts shouting around. For me, I think Eddie is a problem. Yeah, I understand, because there are things he has failed to do, but the Glazers must have, because they bought this this team on loan. They bought this team on loan, and they are drenching a lot of money from the club, more than they are investing in it. That's the truth. Manchester United is one of the big clubs, on Europe. They should be able to spend as PSG. You should be able to spend as Manchester City. You should be able to spend as any other club. But the spending smart, that is the problem. I don't know why you guys don't spend smart. For that one, I cannot really explain. You bought Harry Maguire at £80 million. Upamecano is £50 million. If you ask me, I wouldn't really do that. But you spent £20 million on Edinson Cavani, but you couldn't spend the £20 million on Erling Haaland. I think there is a problem somewhere. We might be looking at sporting director Ed Woodward, but there must be a problem. Maybe it could be a bigger problem than Eddie Woodward.
No, Ed Woodward is the problem. Do you know why?
Yeah.
During the era of Louis van Gaal, I think in his last season, before he was sacked in 2016, the 2015-2016 season, he told Ed Woodward, I want the following players. He wanted Sadio Mane from Southampton. He wanted Fabinho from Brazil, and Fabinho currently play. All those players went to Liverpool. Can you imagine? All those players were shortlisted by Louis van Gaal, and he wanted them. And guess what? Which players were brought to him? Players that he never even called for. So the problem is because the manager will come in and tell you, I want such and such a player. And what he does, when you are coming in, when they've just signed you, they'll get each and every player that you want. You get? Now, when the time for reinforcement comes, they don't really reinforce you because they know that you are a done deal now. Each and every person is going to blame you that you are, even though you are not back like that started this season, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should leave Manchester United because he's not performing well, yet he was not backed. Then the board really is out of this. So this is their game. They've been playing it for a very long time. But I think it's time we got to know that Ed Woodward, maybe, and the Glazers, because they move together. There is even a story I read that the Glazers had really felt the pressure of the fans for signing Jadon Sancho, and they had gone into to tell Ed Woodward, please, let's get this deal done. And Woodward told them, no, let's not do this deal because financially it's not going to do us ABCD. But the bosses had admitted that we needed the player and they had felt the pressure from the fans. So I think Ed Woodward is playing a very, very big role. And he even, you know that Ed Woodward went ahead to hire a PR company. A PR company to monitor each and everything that goes on social media, what the fans are talking, because he knows the fans are not on his side. So the PR, that's why they brought in Edinson Cavani and they signed Alex Telles. They brought in close to 4 players on that day because what they wanted is they wanted to instill it in the minds of the fans that we've signed 4 players on that day. What else do you want from us? Forget about Edinson Sancho. Forget about any other player that we wanted. We've brought in 4 players, and what else do you want from us? So they are doing things that are not benefiting the team. They are doing things that are benefiting their pockets. At the end of it all, the fans and the manager are the ones that suffer.
Rokan, I'm just gonna pose this question to you.
Yes.
The Glazers and Eddie, who do you think has more power over Manchester United?
I think they both have equal powers. Do you know why?
I'm listening.
Because it's like I help you reach a milestone of your life. And you know that without me, you reached that milestone because of my backing. So that means you have to do each and everything in my favor, and I too have to do my thing in your favor because we do need each other. In this situation of Ed Woodward and the Glazers, they both need one another. One, Ed Woodward mastermind this deal to buy Manchester United on loan. You get? And Ed Woodward can easily turn around things because he knows the terms in the contract. Ed Woodward can get other rich men to come in and buy this thing of the Glazers, and you don't know what is in the clause. You don't know because the clause is confidential. You never know. Ed Woodward even having a big percentage in all this.
As a sporting director, okay, there are so many things we don't know about Manchester United and the deal and so on. Yeah, I agree, but I think if the Glazers had the Manchester United heart, if they had Manchester United at heart, there are things, I think you guys are like us, and Stan Kroenke. When you look at Chelsea and Abramovich, this guy loves his club. this guy loves Chelsea. This guy wants to see the best players at Chelsea. This guy wants to see Chelsea sign the best players. He makes it happen. Whether you are a manager and he says, Fernando Torres has to play because he's one of the best strikers at Chelsea, in the world, you're going to play him. It's different from the Glazers. They are completely separated from Manchester United. All they do is, I think their focus is on paying this debt. How do we pay this debt? It gets off our neck, and then we can make our clean money. That is the truth. If the Glazers had Manchester United at heart, Eddie Woodward couldn't stop them. He wouldn't stop them. Trust me, they would tell him, we are getting this amount of money from our own pockets, buy Jadon Sancho. Because, clubs have done that over the past decade. Money, owners have been injecting a lot of cash. But Manchester United is a self-feeding club. They get, you guys make your money. The Glazers reduce some to pay the debt. They take some profit off. Ed Woodward gets some, and then the few that remains goes into the transfers to reinvest into the club. Now, that is where I don't agree that, Woodward is the only problem. If Glazers had Manchester United at heart, if they wanted Manchester United to be a great club like Real Madrid, or, to go back to the Manchester United it was, they should have, had a concern. Because we have seen, at least, you have managers, you have owners. Look at the Liverpool, owners. They are doing it for Liverpool. They want Liverpool to, they have Liverpool at heart. They have finished all their issues, and now they are concentrating on building Liverpool back to the top. Look at Tottenham Hotspur, Danny Levy. Just look at how much he has invested in Tottenham. He was this business guy. He never cared about Spurs. He could, it was an academy, a grooming center. You know how many players he has sold over the years. Carrick, Bell, Modric, to mention about a few. And you thought Spurs never had any ambition. But, this guy wakes up and is like, oh, this is my club. I love Spurs. Why don't I give them some more money? Why don't I do this? I think for me, it makes sense.